Can you hear my dog right now?
Is that Ringo? Yeah.
Yeah. Is
No,
it
no,
is it a
no,
bummer?
no
Okay,
worries.
cool.
It's fine.
Yeah,
It's authentic
since that
stuff, folks. This is how rock and roll geniuses live with their dogs.
there we go.
Human Nature, a journey in search of a peaceful and prosperous society with human nature as a guide. Led by your host, Adam Heyman.
Hello, and welcome to Human Nature. I have a real treat for you on this episode. I am going to interview a genuine rock star. My guest this episode is one Jeremy Freedman of the Neighbourhood. Let me give you a bio of that group at least. The Neighbourhood is an alternative rock band formed in Southern California in 2011. Their first big hit, Sweater Weather, came out a year prior to their first album called I Love You. The band rose in popularity over the years, issuing several EPs, a mixtape, and more studio albums, culminating in my personal favorite, an album called Chip Chrome and the Monotones. That's really good. Check that one out, which came out in 2020. And on the strength of this body of work, the Neighbourhood headlined and sold out the famous Hollywood Bowl. It's a great show. I was at it. They did so in October 2021 during maybe not the height, but the midst of the COVID lockdown mandate hysteria. That was a pretty big accomplishment. It was a great show. I'm very impressed with this young man. I think you will be too. I think you'll enjoy this conversation. It's not a normal interview. We get into some really deep and interesting stuff, and I think you're going to like this guy. I sure do. So come with me and meet one Jeremy Freedman. Hey, Jeremy. Welcome to Human Nature.
Hey, how's it going, dude?
Oh, very good. So when I tell people that I know a bona fide rock star, they say, "Oh yeah, what band?" And I say, "The Neighbourhood." And if they're my age, they're like, "Mm-hmm.
Who's
Who the
that?
hell's that?"
Yeah.
So to establish your bona fides, I say that in October 21, during the COVID nightmare, lockdowns, mandates, crap, your band headlined and basically sold out the Hollywood Bowl, and
Yeah.
that's pretty. In fact, got the concert T-shirt for it right here. Eh?
Oh my goodness.
Eh?
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you're like my mom, you probably work that into every conversation you can.
almost. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's a little awkward at the drive-through, but
Yeah, exactly. You know the band The Neighbourhood?
they're like, no.
Yeah. The amount of times my mom will call me and be like, "Bob, you'll never guess who knows your band." It's like, God.
Yeah, at least I don't do that to you.
Yeah.
So starting with the Hollywood Bowl, that must have been a hell of a show, man. What was that like?
That was great. The experience of rehearsing and it being such a big deal, both with COVID, the new album, us not doing backtracks for just the new album at the Hollywood Bowl and having like pyro and
That's
a
right.
horn section, and you know, it was one of the only times where I felt like, this might sound bad, but like proud on stage because it was so much work. It was 2 months of rehearsing every day for like 8 hours straight.
Oh wow.
And like driving to Mid City to talk to the guy who's like handling all the horns, and it was great. But it was a bit weird. Like the actual show itself was, because if you're on stage looking at the audience, it's just a sea of black.
Yeah.
And the only people you can see is like, I saw you, I saw my mom. Like you see your friends and family who are all getting like the great seats up front. So it's a weird show where you're playing with essentially just a sea of black, but your mom and friends are right there.
Yeah, that's
So
wild.
that was a bit odd to detach. But you did see like, oh, I'm getting text right now. You did see like a sea of iPhone lights, which is cool.
And that was probably like the biggest show you guys have ever done.
Actually, no. The biggest show we've ever done was it's a bit cheap because it's a festival, but it's still like 70,000 people showed up to our
Oh,
show
wow.
in Sao Paulo,
Oh, that's right.
which is
Well, that takes me back. I wanted to ask
that's
you.
actually where I got this tattoo. I was the
Is
last one to get it.
Wow.
Because I don't know, when everyone got it when we were 18, like day one of the band, I was like, this band's not gonna last. I'm not gonna get this stupid tattoo. And playing in front of 70,000 people is like, well, I guess we're legit now, so I can get it.
You could finally break down. Plus, you were so
They got me.
incredibly high that day.
Was I high at Sao Paulo? I'm not sure I was high at that. I've been on shrooms for plenty of shows, but I don't think that was one of them. It may have been.
It must be true band unity then. So I've been
Well,
kind
I'll be the only one who's high, so
Really? That surprises me.
yeah. I'm trying to get eye contact with them and be like, dude, we're having a moment. They're like, fuck off.
Shut up and play, dude.
Yeah. That's right.
So I was following your career basically since you started or shortly thereafter. And when I first
I would
heard
say, sorry, go ahead.
No, when I first heard that first EP, that was probably the first thing that was released that I heard it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm the wrong demo. You know, this is obviously for emotional teenage girls, goth
Yeah.
chicks. But
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really good.
Thanks.
But what
So
interests
good
me,
that you reconnected.
yeah,
You're like,
this
"Hey,
might
I should see what that kid's up to."
this might pay dividends. Maybe I should see what this kid's up to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into our history at some point here, but well, let's leave that on the back burner.
Okay.
But what interests me is, you know, I've heard a lot of bands that are trying to make it, and their stuff sounds pretty good, you know, but they don't all make it. So I'm really interested about the trajectory that you guys had really early. I could tell that I thought there was something really unique about your front man. I mean, Jesse is very charismatic and very artistic, and I could tell you guys were. I don't know what's your perspective. What do you think? There's any secret sauce that you had, or was it just some lucky breaks, or why do you think you burst forward? And
Jesse's. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry,
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I would say that Jesse's a major factor in the whatever secret sauce there is outside of like luck. I think back then we're all, yeah, but we didn't even show our faces back then. There was like mysterious was. Can you hear my dog right now?
Is that Ringo? Yeah.
Yeah. Is it a bummer?
No
Okay,
worries.
cool.
It's fine.
Yeah,
It's authentic stuff, folks. This is how rock and roll geniuses live with their dogs.
There we go. Yeah. Ever since that car crash or that dog getting hit,
oh yeah,
Ringo's just been losing it. Anyways, so Jesse's clearly, especially back then, he was so like, what's a good word? Like driven. He was so driven.
He was driven and so artistic. Like, was it his choice to do the symbol you just showed, the upside down house? And was it his decision to do that black and white, like for everything?
Oh yeah. So Jesse day one was kind of like, he wasn't brutal about it at all. It was more like a leader takes you where you want to go, and we all wanted to go where he wanted to go.
Sure.
But it was a bit like, shut up and do as I say. He's not mean like that, but it was like he just clearly knew the logo, the delivery, the sound, the everything. It was just so driven by Jesse. And you know, he was so efficient too. Like we tried to write a song a day for 10 days straight and got it done. And Sweater Weather was actually the first song we ever wrote.
Oh, wow. That's still your biggest hit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even after that great Chip Chrome album that I love so much.
You know what's funny about that is it's our least successful, but it's also our newest. But I just re-listened to Chip Chrome and I didn't think it was bad, but I just didn't think it was as great as I thought it was. And maybe it was just the headspace I was in, but I was like, oh, I thought that was actually really great, but
Well,
not that big of a fan of it.
I want to talk about that album specifically later.
Okay.
But for now, like I thought Jesse's choices were just amazing. You know, the artistry and the like you said, the enigma that you had for a band. So that had to help. But I think you guys started blowing up in like England before you were starting to blow up here. Is that true? Am I remembering that right?
So yeah, we had a couple things go our way outside of Jesse's like just gut instincts working out pretty much every time. The manager that originally wanted to just manage Jesse, and Jesse's going to be a rapper back then, but Jesse got me and Zach to write 10 songs with him, brought it to the manager. And it just so happens that manager's son's godparent is Zane Lowe. I'm sure you know who that is. Zane Lowe is like, he used to be at BBC One, I think.
Oh wow.
Like big time guy in the UK. And Kirk just called in a favor, like, hey, I got this new band. Could you put the song up on the UK radio? And it just caught on. And then pretty much after that premiere, it's a bit blurry because it's 10 years ago, but it's like, I think it was right after that we got like hit up by Columbia and kind of all the majors to sign like within, I think, a month.
Wow, that's so fast. And that's pretty much off the heat from the UK.
Just whatever. Yeah, well, we got signed before we even played our first show. Yeah, we were kind of like industry buzz first. Like it wasn't like fans made it obvious that the labels wanted to sign us. It was like before we were anything. Probably because of the Zane Lowe thing, but
and that song, I mean, that is an inspired song, man. All the people my age who, you know, I say your name and the name of the band, they're like, yeah, never heard of it. But I play Sweater Weather, they're like, oh yeah, that song.
Oh wow, you even go back to they go, no, you're like, okay, well let me show you something really quick. You'll probably
just to be clear, I'm not your mom.
Yeah.
I don't do this often, but when I do it,
yeah, a few drinks have to be involved, I'm sure.
Always. Exactly.
Yeah.
Tell me the Coachella story. I mean, you guys were just kids, and this is just rags to riches thing. Like, didn't you and Jesse like sneak into? Maybe was that the wrong festival or?
Right. So that predates Jesse starting to get managed by Kirk and the Neighborhood as a whole. It was actually the thing that kind of inspired me, Jesse, and Zach to pursue music like for real. We'd played music our whole life, but like Jesse's gonna do something in music for sure. But me and Zach are kind of like down to do anything, but we definitely love music. But we snuck into Coachella. This is fucking such a weird story. Like, by the way, I think this is actually, I think we signed some kind of contract with Golden Voice to not talk about this.
Oh, perfect.
Because I think Jesse wanted to talk about this on stage at Coachella, but they told him not to.
Well, that's okay. My lawyers are top notch.
Okay, good.
I got you.
So yeah, what do we do? We're all working at the same Urban Outfitters in our hometown, and we're working the same shift, and we're like, Coachella's coming up, we should go down. And then we didn't have tickets, but for some reason we're all just like, yeah, fuck it, let's just go down. Something will happen. And then on the way there, this is a good story about Jesse. He's just brilliant. Like we went to this, I think it was like where you get like laminates made. I think it was like a Kinko's or something.
Oh, nice.
And we got like these lanyards with these like laminate passes that said, it was just bullshit, like Guitar Center, like stereotypical brands like written all over it.
Sure.
And we didn't have wristbands. We just had that. And then we were with people that had wristbands. And we were with this girl. She was like how do you describe it? Like just a powerful woman who like just commands respect and is talking to the security guard at like the front gate. And she's our manager, and we're supposed to be on stage right now, and we're already late, and
Got the
our band's on
clipboard,
stage.
walking fast.
We're supposed to be like techs or something, and she's like the manager. Which, by the way, it's like if you're with a band, you're definitely not like going through the front, the front GA general admission gate. But we basically got in, and then she's like, "These fucking guys need to be on stage right now," and yada yada yada. And then she like looks at us past the security guard, and she just like mouths like "run," and then we just take off running into Coachella. Anyways, we see Arcade Fire, and that really inspired us to like kind of a moment where we'll look at each other like, "Wait, we should do that. That's really cool." And then, yeah, I guess
Was it 2 years later you were on stage at that?
no. Oh, 2 years later, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, that was a cool story, man.
Yeah, there's something as I was watching you guys put out, I love that first album.
Yeah.
And when did that mixtape came out that had that cool hexadecimal title, the symbols
Let's take to our friend google.com. When did the mixtape?
Oh, wait, I've got it here. 2014.
Oh, there you go.
So that was like a couple of years into your you were putting out a lot of stuff early on. At least one thing a year.
That was a very efficient time for Jesse. Yeah, we put out. Well, it was in between both albums. Jesse pretty much made the whole mixtape by himself. There's really only a couple moments that included us. The song "Warm" being one of them. Jesse really wanted. So Zach and him made some stuff, and then he really wanted a guitar solo, and I just couldn't get it. So it's so funny. Jesse, I remember telling him that I'm like really creative in the shower or something. So we're all at the like on tour, I think in this like festival circuit or something. And he makes me we all go in one hotel room, and he brings in his like computer, and he makes me take a shower and come out and do this guitar solo. And that's what landed on the record.
That worked.
That guitar solo.
That's so
it
crazy.
Worked.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting, I mean, is he's so artistically committed to the fact that you guys only do black and white imagery. So he names the mixtape that. I don't know. There's just something so single-minded about his approach, about the band's approach back then. And then again, my favorite album by far. I mean, I love your earlier stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it's just it seemed like it was aimed at for very young people, young adults. Teenage angst, which is great. I mean, that's the right age, you guys were when you were writing. But Chip Chrome and the monotones, it really sounded like the workings of a mature band. And why did Jesse decide that now all of a sudden it's time to introduce color and to introduce such extreme color?
So we introduced color on the third album, which it's kind of confusing because it's like many independent releases that at the end compiled into one album that's clearly way too long. It's like 26 songs or something.
Is that the hard to imagine the neighborhood ever changing? Right.
I think it's supposed to be like hard to imagine the neighborhood not being black and white, or I don't know, maybe Jesse has a lot of other reasons for like what it means, but that's when we started introducing color. And yeah, it really was a Jesse thing. He's really good at like branding, and if he says he wants to go color, I think we're all kind of like, well, sure, let's do it if you feel like you want to do it. And I actually think it's cool the way that he wanted to do it. It wasn't like just some color. It was like Technicolor. He wanted to go like, his whole thing was like chrome.
Yeah,
like
he
this
creates a brand new
reflective thing
character
that's
that's like made of chrome or something.
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, like being next to him during that creation of it, because he would dress up in chip chrome, like like the whole outfit at the studio when we were all just like making songs. Like he's just so like method actory, but like
Andy Kaufman here.
I remember one time when like our A&R person stopped at the studio and he was in the full getup, and she couldn't figure out how to like interact with him, and she looked at me, she's like, I don't know what to do with Jesse. I was like, I just started laughing. Yeah, I mean, we're in the same boat. It's not like he told us he's gonna like do this. He just showed up to the studio one day, and we have to just act like he's not doing that.
You've always had a pretty strong video game ever since the beginning. Is that something you guys were working on yourselves, or did you have a contact, or how did that happen?
Wait, strong video game?
Yeah, the music videos for your songs
Oh,
have
the
always
video
been
game. Okay,
really
yeah,
good. You're
yeah.
such a you're such a pothead gamer. You just thought I was talking about Call of Duty, didn't you?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny because video games definitely are a part of every single record we make, for sure. But yeah, our video game is yeah. See, that stuff is so Jesse. He's like most of the delivery of all the art comes from Jesse. It's something that he loves to do and he's so good at, and I think he understands culture better than some video guy at Columbia. Like
Sure.
he's gonna know what like is honest to us and will work for the fans and all that stuff. So
Well, he's supposed to be driving culture, right? I mean, you guys are the artists, not some suits.
yeah, yeah. The video people at those companies, like they're all nice. They're cool to hang out with and stuff, but like they're just such suits. Yeah,
So for Chip Chrome for that album, it seemed like
yeah,
again, it seemed like you guys were all grown up, and you were bringing
yeah,
in these cool sounds that reminded me of the '70s, and there was a bunch of country western stuff, and
yeah,
even some fiddles. I think I told you reminded me of a Waterboys song or something.
yeah.
Can you tell me how did you guys make that album? I mean, it just seems so different and so great.
So it was really from the jump, like the inputs were so different from all the other records. Like an obvious one being, we have a credited producer, but it was really produced by us. I hope he doesn't take offense to that if he hears this. But we set out to self-produce a record, and me and Jesse kind of had some tension in the past that really got squashed before that, but we were still maybe on eggshells for a bit. And then I think before we even started writing that Chip Chrome album, I basically like pulled him aside and was like, because that last record we did, I think we all had a hard to imagine. Not that it's bad, but it wasn't like fulfilling, and it felt like just we're lost. And I just pulled Jesse aside and said like, "Hey man, you really need to be a leader here, like,
Mhm.
and get us somewhere." And I think that might have just unlocked something in him where he felt like it was me against him, or in some way, and that he saw me like asking for him to like lead us, and I think he said like, okay, this guy's giving me space, and then he gave me a lot of space, and then that kind of turned into him leaning on me and me leaning on him, and that kind of turned into maybe what you would hear as like all grown up, and like, because I guess I come from probably a different world than like what the neighborhood would you would think that I would come from. I like the Beatles, Pink Floyd, David Bowie. It's like classic rock stuff, and I think Jesse was leaning into me, and I think he said even like he tried to write a record that I really like. I would really like. And I think that's what we got out of that. So it's like a weird like emotional growth time, both like leaning on each other, not being on eggshells, and him really wanting to write a record with me, but mostly for me, I think.
Right.
Because maybe he thought that the previous records were not that. And I remember this one time in our first album that you say you like so much, the song called Flawless, getting on my knees and begging to not release this song. Legitimately begging,
Oh dear.
please, dude, do not release this song.
Oh dear. That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I think you could hear it that album really came together. Or maybe it's because the style. I'm an older guy and I just like those old styles. Who knows?
And we're older, you know?
And you guys are older, yeah. You'd been at
Yeah.
it over 10 years, I guess, at that point, right?
And sorry, I'm also missing probably the biggest chunk because it was a really subjective thing, but I would say a big unifier, especially after working on our third record with this guy Lars Stolfers, who's a great guy, great producer, but he really wanted to have us be like, hey, you are this thing for these people. Don't try to be anything more than that. And that was essentially just trying to be an alt rock band and that's it. And chasing a hit kind of energy. Like you're the Sweater Weather Band. So just don't try anything really. Just try and do that. And this record where we had no producer, we're all going to self-produce. And we kind of unified on like, fuck making a hit because we don't know how. And it's just not fun. So let's just be us. We're all like just weird guys and let's just be weird. Fuck it.
Yeah, all your best songs, even before that album, were weird. They're weird stuff. Like "Let It
And just,
Go." It's one of my favorite songs of yours, and that's just weird.
yeah, I know the that's a weird one. Like I think Jesse might have gotten picked on a bit when he's younger,
That makes sense.
and I know the stories behind it, but yeah, that. But anyways, yeah, Jesse's a really funny guy, so I'm really happy that he got to let that be seen in his music, with Hell or High Water or just
Oh yeah.
anything. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, I
There's
love that. I love that those so unexpected, unique bits came into that Chip Chrome album.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
just delightful. Highly recommend it
my
for all you people out there. Chip Chrome and the
thanks.
Monotones.
Thanks. Our drummer, he makes these like stupid, but they're brilliant, like just joke songs. And one's one's called, the last one he did is called Butt or Balls, and the lyrics are, do you like my butt or balls? And I think it would be brilliant. I actually think it'd be brilliant to release it. It
Is
just,
this
there's something,
is this your
you know,
Octopus's Garden? Butt or
dude, I
balls?
think it's like, we all like Tenacious D, like these
Yeah.
guys that actually make bomb music, but they're funny. It's like, why
Yeah.
can't we do that? That's fucking awesome. I grew up on Tenacious D and Weird Al.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't lean into it
Butterballs,
all the
dude.
time, but yeah, you can put out a Butterballs every once in a while.
Right, right. Especially if you take a 5-year hiatus and then come back with that. It's just, there's something so endearing about like just being an idiot.
Yeah, are you guys writing right now?
Struggling, I would say. Struggling, not
To
writing.
write? Mm.
Yeah, there's a bit of right now maybe a difference in opinion on like we're kind of in this weird spot where it's like the last album we released was 5 years ago.
Oh wow.
If you can believe that, dude. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah. So that came out in 2020, I guess. Yeah, there it is.
Is
Chip
it? Oh,
Chrome
4 years ago?
came out in 2020.
Yeah. Nuts.
That is nuts. That's a long time.
Well, COVID's such a time warp. It just
It
disappeared
really
us.
is. It really
Um,
is.
but now we're in this hole where it's like our last album came out 4 years ago, and we really released that record and then played 2 shows, one being the Holly Bowl and the other being Forest Hills. So it's true that we didn't even tour the album, but it's also true that it's 4 years old, and it feels old to me. Where it's like, yeah, it doesn't feel like I want to go play this stuff live. It just is old. So there's a difference in opinion on coming back. You know, Jesse did the solo career, and we all kind of all did our own thing, and now we're coming back, and writing music isn't really easy at this moment. So maybe we should go tour, but some people don't want to tour. So it's a weird spot. We're not so we want to write music, but we're not.
You'll figure it out.
We will. Yeah. It's tricky.
Speaking of 4 years old, Jeremy, would you like to take this opportunity to thank me personally for you turning into the superstar that you are?
Yeah, your abandonment just really paid off.
Yes, folks. When Jeremy was 4 going on 5, I dated his mother in sunny Los Angeles, California. And there was a moment where I thought I was going to be this kid's stepfather, but wisely and graciously and kindly, I think, instead, I just abandoned your tiny little family unit.
Right.
And that gave you the angst to become a creative genius and be a rock and roll star. You're welcome, Jeremy. You're welcome.
I'm sure the source of all artists is No One Loves Me.
Exactly.
So you gave me a great gift.
Hey, you don't need to thank me. It's all fine. It's all in a day's work.
Yeah. Nope. But yeah, that is true. You were my surrogate dad. And was it post the Neighborhood where you got back in touch? I remember we linked up in Vegas. Was that at a Neighborhood show?
Yeah.
Right?
I'd been talking to your mom a little bit before that, but the first time I saw you again was at a Neighborhood show. You were opening for, well, I can't remember. I saw you open for a lot of bands. Interpol once, maybe, and
that's so sick.
What's the one with the little?
No, it was Paul Banks. We never got to tour Interpol.
Oh, okay.
You're making me think we're cooler than we are. I wish.
And you opened for who's the angry little dwarf that had such a great show? House of Blues, Vegas.
Angry little dwarf. That's
you know what I'm talking about, right?
I think it's Foles.
Yes. I became a fan of that band simply because I saw you open for him. That dwarf is pretty angry, though. I think he killed a stage tech that night. Should look into that.
That is so funny. Wow.
Well, yeah, you're welcome. You are an adorable little kid, and I apologize profusely for abandoning you, but your mother's a little crazy. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we're working on that. And totally get it. No, I'm just kidding.
No, your mom's great. You're great, and
great.
I'm thrilled that Jennifer and I we consider you two family.
Same.
No joke.
Same.
I have tons more questions for you, but I want to put those on the bonus interview portion behind my paywall at Substack. So go to, not you, Jeremy, but you fine folk, go to heymannature.substack.com and sign up for my Monday through Friday daily emails. And if you become a paid subscriber up there, you'll get access to the rest of this conversation, it's going to be lit. You should see. If you could see the questions I have.
It's going to be nuts.
It's going to be nuts. But before we go, do you have anything you'd like to tell these fine folks? Any place to direct them to hear and worship your musical stylings?
No, not really. Honestly, no. No, I don't have any plugs. Don't even have any tours coming up. No albums. No my own things.
That's how cool this guy is, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't even need to plug anything. But I vouch for everything the Neighborhood puts out, except for some of that stuff in the middle.
Yeah.
But the first stuff and the last stuff is rock and roll. All right. So thank you very much, Jeremy. And thank you very much for watching Heyman Nature.
Rock and roll.